Okay, so we're talking about writing equations of a line, and in this example they've given me a point and a slope. If I have a point and a slope, it makes sense to start off in point slope form. So if you write this correctly in point slope form, it should look like y minus 2 equals 4 times x minus 1. Was that okay? Is everybody all right knowing how to do that part? Now, unfortunately, I can't leave my answer like that because they specifically asked that it be in slope-intercept form. So what I can do is just distribute that 4 and add the 2 over, and then I'll have it in slope-intercept form. So if we just distribute that 4x minus 4, and then add 2, y equals 4x minus 2. And I'm there. Do any of you, if you have a problem like this, do any of you start with y equals mx plus b and you solve for b, and then put it back in? You can do that. You absolutely can. I don't think it saves you any time, but I'll show you how to do it if you ever want to. So, I want it to be in slope-intercept form. There's slope-intercept form. I'm going to plug in the pieces that I know. I know there's an x, there's a y, and there's the slope. So I can plug in for these 3 things and then just solve for b. So that's always an option. So y is 2, m is 4, x is 1, b is what I don't know, but I could solve for it. So I get 2 equals 4 plus b, minus 4 minus 4. I get negative 2 for b. And then you just have to remember to put it all back together again. So y equals, my slope is 4, and then my y-intercept is a negative 2. So either way, you're going to get the same answer. It's your preference. Me personally, I think it's easier to use point slope form. But let's say, you know, it's 6 months down the line and you're taking the SATs and you can't remember point slope form. Usually everybody remembers y equals mx plus b. It's a lot easier, I don't know, it's stuck in your brain more so than point slope form is. For most of you. So, if you can't remember point slope, there is a way to get there without using point slope. But, I don't know, if you know it, I think it's easier. Because you see how quick that was? I just popped it in and I just rewrote it. But, it's up to you. Either way, I don't care. So, same thing with number 12. I would start off writing it in point slope form and then just adjusting. But, you do what you want. So let's skip down to number 13, because now this is different. I'm not given a slope at all. I'm just given 2 points. So for whatever form I'm going to use, whether it be slope-intercept or point slope, don't I need the slope anyway? So I'm going to have to find the slope on my own. So for 13, let's all go ahead and find the slope. So try it on your paper and only look up here to see if your answer matches mine. Don't just copy what I have. Watch your signs, be careful. When you're finished, see if you got the same thing I got. Did you get what I got? All right. Negative 5/3. So now you have an option. Again, they want me to finish in slope-intercept form. That doesn't mean I have to start in slope-intercept form. You can. It's up to you. Do I have the slope and the y-intercept? Do I know where the y-intercept is right now? No, I don't. I can solve for it, just like we did this last one, right? Where I plug in all the pieces and I solve for b. So I can find it. Alternatively, could I use point slope form? Do I have a point and a slope? Yes, I found the slope, and not only do I have 1 point, I have 2 points. Well, which one do you use? It doesn't matter. I would recommend using the one that has a 0 in it, because maybe that'll make your life easier. So that's what's, for some reason, that's what trips some kids up, because they feel like they have to use both points, and then they get lost. Or they might use like x from one and y from the other. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You just pick one point. It doesn't matter which one, just pick one of them and the slope that you have. So again, this is personal preference. I would do point slope form because I have a point and a slope. If you want to start off in slope intercept and solve for b and then put it all back together, go for it. That's totally up to you. But I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to do y minus 0 is just y equals m times x minus -4 turns into a plus. And then all I have to do to get this into slope-intercept form is just distribute that -5/3. And I'm done. And that's it. Oh, yeah. Sorry, good catch. What do you think? Easy enough? You remember this? It's in there somewhere? Okay. What happens if they give you... Let's look at 15. Actually, let's do 16 first. We'll come back to 15. Here, they've given me a point and they want it to be, they want the line to be parallel to this one. Well, what's the deal with parallel lines? Same slope, right? So, if you don't have that in your notes somewhere, you better put it. Parallel lines have the same slope. And when I say same, I mean exactly the same. So if it's -2, so is the other one. It's not, you can't have 2 and -2. They're not the same. Exactly the same. 4 7s, 4 7s. -19, -19. Exactly the same. And since we're on the topic, parallel lines have the same slope and perpendicular lines have what? Yes, perpendicular. Do you remember the symbol for perpendicular? Yes, upside down T, capital T. So that's a symbol for perpendicular. Parallel, it's just 2 long lines like that, right? So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So for example, if one slope was 2/3, the other one would be -3/2. If one slope was 6, the other one would be -1/6. If one slope was 1, the other one would be -1, because the reciprocal 1 is just 1. If one slope was -0.3, what would the other one be? Someone said it. 10/3 is right. Because isn't that really 3/10? -3/10. So now I'd want positive 10/3. Ooh, tricky, tricky. And then there is one caveat to this. What if my original slope was 0? Right, it's undefined. So a line that has a slope of 0, what's it look like? That's a horizontal, and this one will be a vertical, of course. So horizontal and vertical lines are always perpendicular. Any horizontal line is perpendicular to any vertical line, and vice versa. Similarly, all horizontal lines are wait, what'd you say? Yes. Oh, I was going for something else. I wanted you to say all horizontal lines are parallel to each other. All vertical lines are parallel to each other. Okay? All right. So, that being said, when we're looking at number 16, I need a line that goes through this point that's parallel to this one. So, if I want them to be parallel, I want them to have the same slope, right? So all I have to do from this bit of information, I just have to extract its slope. And then I don't even care about it anymore. So what's the slope of this thing? 2/3. So my new slope is going to remain 2/3. Now I'm done with that bit of information. I don't even need it. I just need to now write the equation of a line with a slope of that and a point of that. So what form would you use? I would use point slope form because that's what I have, a point and a slope. I do need to finish it in slope-intercept form, but I get to start wherever I want. So I would do y minus 2 equals 2/3 x plus 3. And then I just have to rewrite it. Add the 2 over. My final answer would be 2/3 x plus 4. Do you agree? Yeah? All right. Let's backtrack to 15. So we were just talking about parallel and perpendicular lines, vertical and horizontal. What's the deal with x equals 0? Is that vertical or horizontal? Vertical, right? Hoi vux. Hoi vux. If it's x equals, it's a vertical line. So if I want to be parallel to that, don't I need another vertical line? So wouldn't I need another x equals something? So what's my answer? That's it. It's just x equals 5. X equals 5 would be parallel to x equals 0, and it would pass through the point 5, 4. For whatever reason, these types trip kids up all the time. So let me give you another one. Say I wanted to go through -2, 4, and I wanted to be, let's stick with parallel. Parallel to y equals 7. Don't say anything out loud, just get your answer in your head. There's not even any math to do. You just have to decide for yourself if it's going to be x equals or y equals, and then what the number is. You got an answer? Okay, what is it? Y equals 4. Perfect. Try this one. Through 0, 10, perpendicular to x equals 6. Think on this one for a minute. You want to be perpendicular to x equals 6, so it's got to be y equals, and what does y equal? 10. That's it. Y equals 10. Okay. Do you have your answer? X equals -4. Perpendicular, so that one is horizontal. I need a vertical. Verticals are x equals, and it's just -4. I can't tell you how many collective points have been lost on questions like this. But they're really easy if you get it. Right? So just be careful. Let's do 18. And then there'll only be one more that I want to do. All right, so I want to go through that point, but this time I want to be perpendicular to this line, y equals negative 2x minus 1. So this one is going to require some work because it's not just a vertical or horizontal one. So where do I start? Anybody know? Where will I begin? Yeah. I want to be perpendicular to this, so I need to figure out... Right, I need to figure out the slope of this thing as it is, and then if I want to be perpendicular, I want its opposite reciprocal. So the slope of this thing as it is negative 2. So the slope that I should use is what? Positive 1/2, because that's the opposite reciprocal to that. Now I don't even care about this anymore. I already got the information out of it that I needed, and now I have a point and a slope. So it's up to you how you write the equation on the line from here. Just make sure you end up in slope-intercept form. So take a minute and do that, and let's see if we all end in the same spot. What do you think? Did you get what I got? Using whichever method you're using. If you don't use point slope and you always go to slope intercept, that's fine. Just make sure that you are getting the same answer as I am. All right. So if you look at the rest of this, it's asking you, it's basically the same idea, it's just asking for a different form. So 19 and 20, they want it in point slope form. So that's even easier. You have 2 points, just find the slope first, and then you can just leave it in point slope form. However, when you get down to the very bottom, they're asking for standard form. So does anybody have a preference if we do 23 or 24? Pick. What do you want? 23 I heard. Okay. So let's look at 23. I have to write this in standard form now. I'm not going to start in standard form. I'm going to start probably in point slope form because that's what I'm close to having. I have 2 points. I can find the slope pretty easily. Then I'll have the slope and a point, and I'll just need to rewrite it in standard form. So let's see if we can do that. First, we got to find the slope. So everybody find the slope. Did we all get, oh sorry, negative 3/5? Okay, now, for those of you using point slope form, you have 2 points to pick from. I would pick the one with the 1s in it, because 1 is easier to deal with than 4. If you're going right to y equals mx plus b, that's fine too. By the way, if they ever just say write the equation of the line and they don't specify what form, you get to leave it in any form you want. So here's my equation in point slope form. I need to end it in standard form. How? What should I do first? Yes, absolutely. Let's distribute that negative 3/5. Now what? You can, but I feel like there's an easier way. Yeah, I'd clear the fractions right here. So I don't have to deal with them anymore. You have to distribute before you clear fractions, but once you've done that, it will make my life much easier. Because now, if you remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. So I want the x and y together on the left-hand side. All I have to do is add that 3x over and minus that 5 over, and I'm done. So if I add the 3x over, I'll have 3x plus 5y, and now minus that 5 over. Should get me equals a negative 8. And I'm done. By the way, if this were a test or a quiz, and you just want to, I know you guys are like anti-checking your work, but a really quick thing you could at least do is just, remember how to find the slope if it's in standard form? How do you find the slope of a line in standard form? Negative a over b. So that takes half a second, right? Negative a over b, and just make sure it matches the slope that it was supposed to be. Because if something went wrong in there, if you distributed wrong or added wrong, that may not work out that way. You could still be wrong because you could have this number wrong here, but at least you're, you know, it's a little quick thing that you can do quickly to make sure that you're not way off. And there it is. There's standard form. Just make sure you distribute before you clear fractions. All right. Any questions on writing equations and lines? None? Okay. I know it's not the most